Now some well-wisher leaves a comment saying that my driver's side turn signal was out. And you gotta wonder about people, right? Why could you not leave that comment sooner? Like, why are you leaving at the last moment when I'm about to get loaded? You know, no responsibility whatsoever. But on a serious note, I noticed that I did not see that light. But what I noticed that it started doing it before. You know, when I flip on my left turn signal, it would the frequency would be normal. You know, tick 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 tick. But then all of a sudden it would go tick 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 tick, and then back tick 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 tick. You know, I'm like, what's going on? Only the left one. The right one is always the same frequency, tick 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 tick, right? And then a few days ago, that slow slash fast frequency turned into fast frequency. Now whenever I flip on my left turn signal, I see on the dash everything is working. It shows me the arrow, right, blinking, but it's blinking very fast, tick 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 tick, right? And then I read this comment, and again, clearance lights are working. No, actually the clearance light is the same as turn signal, but it's hard to see. You know, headlights are working, and the turn signal on the fender is working. So anyway, I checked this morning, and sure enough, it's out. It's not working. And I went inside the truck stop, and that's the light. You need this light. I went inside that Marathon truck stop. They have this, but only with the old style connector, not like this, but you know, like a round connector where it just twists in, right? And these just snap in, right? And you open the hood, and then there's two screws with the heads. Like, you don't need any tools, you just use your hands. But they were like seized, they were pretty bad, but I managed to open them. And once you open 2 out of 3, there's 3, but the third one you don't need that one. So once you open 2, you can lift that cover, and I only see like 2 headlights, and then I see like the access to 2 headlights, and then I see some kind of a stick in there. I'm like, wait a second, why I only have 1 stick? Like, there should be an access to 2 lights, because from the front you can clearly see that there's two lights, you know. And then I reach my hand in there, I flip this, and it's the light, and then I go towards the front. Wait a second, so it is, I do have 1 light only, not 2. So again, this is kind of like an entertainment, not for mechanics. If you're a freaking mechanic, just stop this video and go boil an egg or something, okay? But this is the first time in 2 years I'm changing the signal light on this. But again, Marathon did not have the light. I drove to the next exit to Love's, and they had this, $8 for 2 bulbs, you know. But I didn't have time to go to any pot store or anything, so I grabbed these because I saw they were similar, put it in, everything works. So now we're sitting in the sea of used, mostly, heavy equipment. So heavy equipment to the right, heavy equipment to the front, some buckets, more stuff over there. That's my excavator sitting over there behind. And basically now I'm just waiting. I'm unhooked, all the chains are off. I took the bottom pins out from the last axle, but I cannot remove the top pins. We'll have to connect the chain. But anyway, so now it's gonna be, you know, the tricky now it's gonna be the tricky some guy is leaning against my trailer without my express written permission. That's not good. So so yeah, we're gonna hook up the chain, lift that axle, take it off, and then hook up the spreader. And I found all my pins, because you know the top, last time I used this, right, I only had I was trying to use it as 2+2, so there was no top pins, and I started panicking. Wait, where's my top pins? Why I don't have enough pins, you know? And I went in my side door. Sure enough, I found it. And then one thing I noticed is that, yeah, the Jeep looks good, the spreader looks good. I don't see anything missing or anything. But one thing that annoyed me is this. Let me show you. Remember, like probably 1 month after I got the spreader, I had to repair the hoses, because they put these, like there was a thing in here, right? The metal, they put these inside, right, at the plant, and when you turn, this thing starts turning and it starts twisting the cables, and it ripped off this one, right, and it almost ripped off this other one, and so now I took them all out of this loop, and now I get back the spreader with everything remade, right, and I see they put the hoses back in there, right. I don't want to mess with this because it's all sealed. I don't have the sealant, so I asked the guys in there, I said, hey, can you guys just grab a grinder or something and just cut the top so I can take the hose, because they were like this, right. And so that's the first modification to the spreader. And you see I disconnected this, not to rip it off, so I have to connect this. But yeah, so this where the flip axle will be here, so this will be the rear, right. So we have to disconnect the last axle and it'll go in there, but this part will go towards the trailer. And I don't know, I think they're on break or something, but now we're just basically waiting. We need to take off the spreader, the Jeep, and you see I disconnected to make it easier so they don't hit the neck. But maybe after this we can actually load, you know, because we can flip this, we can flip the neck after. But you know, now the trailer is open, right, so you can load, and then I will deal with the Jeep and the neck. But first we have to unload and hook up the spreader and take off the last axle. Anyway, very big place, right next to a freeway. Actually, when I was coming here, that's 96 in there, I saw this place. And I'll be using 2 Escorts, $480 each US, because I need them to get to Indiana. Like, Michigan is scared of such long vehicles. Indiana, Illinois are not scared, so no Escorts over there. So I only need them here, and I think in Minnesota, on the US side. See, I didn't do yet anything. I'm already like, I look like heck. Well, progress finally. The spreader is connected and the axle is connected. That took like probably over an hour. But the Jeep is still on the deck, because you see this part here is very busy, so he has to come from the side, because these guys came in. You cannot do it, but they're just taking a fork, a couple of forks from a big wheel loader. So I feel pretty good about this. But I asked the guy, because you know these are local guys, right? So I said, hey, you guys ever hold this big Volvo excavator? And he says, you're gonna be over 13.6. I said, yeah, I know, because he says he's 13.6 on his drop side rail. You see, that's the beauty of drop side rail. But over here it's not that important, because I'm going northwest towards Chicago. But if this was like New Jersey, Delaware, you know, New York City, that drop side rail would beat me every time, because it's super expensive to run, you know, 014. But going northwest, nobody cares about your height pretty much. But yeah, so I've been here since what, 7:30, so 3 hours. 3 hours. So all the chains are off, the spreader is connected, the truck is disconnected. And I told them that, because I took the neck, right? I have the neck on the truck, but I didn't flip it. I didn't flip the flip box yet. And I told them, you know, to keep things moving. As soon as we take off the Jeep, just drop it somewhere, and then I'll clear up the deck, and then we can load the excavator, you know. And after that, I'm gonna rehook to the trailer, drop the trailer, and then they're gonna flip the neck, right? So it'll be easier, and then I'll just back the Jeep under the neck. It's much easier like this. So once the neck is already connected, and then once I lift it, then I can start chaining it down, because like I always say, it's useless to try to chain it when the front part of the trailer sits on the ground, because then once you lift it, everything shifts and all the chains get loose. It's just a waste of time. So but anyway, so this will be the first time I'm using such a long Jeep, and you can see like the rear touches my frame and the front neck is over the front of the trailer. Like the Jeep, I think before it was about 24 feet long, now it's definitely like 26. And so yeah, and I'll have to move the fifth wheel on the Jeep, because now it's in the very back. It has to be all the way forward, but that's easy to do. I mean, that's once I hook up to the trailer, I'll open the fifth wheel lock. Never did this on the Jeep actually, but I know there's a button in there, like a little lever. I open that one, and then I'll just push the Jeep until the fifth wheel starts moving, and that's it. And then of course the fun part is attaching all the chains. So I think maybe an hour for the Jeep on the neck, and maybe 2 hours to get loaded. So yeah, I'm not gonna be ready at 12 o'clock, because my escorts are coming at 12 o'clock. Let's see, did they call me or anything? Any messages? Oh, all right, just a message from my broker. Thanks for the update. Yeah, I sent her this guy keeps asking me for a rate request. Cambridge, Ontario to Stony Creek, Ontario. You're lumber loads out of British Columbia. No, thank you. All right, so nothing. Oh, it says 5 emails. Oh, Henry's. Yeah, I'm trying to cancel. This email is to inform you that your order has been canceled. Please contact us to speak with the customer service representative. You can either email us. Oh, perfect. Order canceled. Reply.
I know, you need to get my loader here.
Thank you. So basically, yeah, that camera was taking forever to ship, and I checked yesterday, you know, that the camera I wanted to get, the Canon EOS R6, which is like super crazy expensive, 2,500 US, almost 4,000 Canadian. I'm not sure why I need it, but the worst part is that I sold my EOS R I had before, which was a pretty nice camera, not super, you know, pictures were not super great, but it was okay. But that's what I wanted, a bit more. And now they came out with this R5 and R6. R5 is definitely out of my price range, but R6 was okay, but it's only 20 megapixels. But anyway, so they keep postponing. There's such a huge demand for these cameras, they keep postponing the release. And yesterday I went to the Henry's photography store. I said, when do you expect them? He says October. And I don't have a camera. I said, that's it, forget it. I'm switching back to Nikon. Just gonna get like a Nikon D850 or maybe D810, like a high resolution Nikon camera, because I have no Canon lenses now. I basically have nothing that ties me back to Canon, and I switched to Canon. Originally I was a Nikon shooter, right? And the only reason I switched to Canon was because I thought it's useful to have a camera that can shoot both video and photo and do photography. And Canon is, you know, they have this amazing dual pixel AF, so it's fully automatic autofocusing during video. But then I discovered that I just don't like using these big cameras for video. Like right now I'm using my GoPro. I have another one over here ready to go, so that's what I'm using. So I'm using GoPro for video, and I just need a good camera for occasional photography. Like I like doing landscapes, you know, architecture, sometimes street photography, and so I figured that's it. Like Nikon was perfect. I like Nikon actually. The quality of pictures I like better on the Nikon. The sensors are better, I think. So going back to Nikon, so the order is canceled. Perfect. Anyway, so where's my guy with the wheel loader? So we did the most difficult part, that spreader. Oh, and by the way, the way you do it, this is not the first time I noticed this. It's there's 4 pins, right? So it's easier to connect the top pins. Like he can just tilt the spreader bar and we connect the top pins, and then when he let it go, it's easier to hook up the bottom pins. And we did the same with flip axle. And the only tricky part was attaching hoses, because they're all screwed up. Like they're not in the same order, you know, like there's 4 hoses, right? Okay, 3, 1 is electric, but they're all in different order. When they raised my connectors to the top, they screwed up the order, and so now each time it takes you know, you have to figure out which one is which one is red, which one is blue. But I hooked up everything. I double checked the air. The airbags seem to be inflating, so I think I hooked up everything correctly. So the last test will be when I start driving. If the wheels don't spin, that means I screwed up the red and blue. I have to change them, you know, because that's what usually happens when you put the blue hose to the red. Your parking brakes cannot release. Counterweight, but this time they decided to keep it on, and that counterweight is probably 20,000 pounds at least, and that's why it's 110,000 pounds. But that's just a rough estimate. So I ordered the Michigan permit and I ordered Indiana permit just to get to Indiana and let go of my pilots, right? And then Indiana, I can go to Lake Station. There's a bunch of truck stops I'm gonna scale before I order the rest of the permits. I need to know my empty weight. Oh, and that's one more thing I'm gonna do tonight, is I'm gonna fill up full fuel at Marathon Gas, Marathon truck stop, and I'm gonna scale, because I suspect I'm a bit heavier now than 72.3, whatever, 72,300 pounds I had before. So yeah, tomorrow is gonna be tricky. Again, I hope that spreader bar will connect, so they will have to disconnect one axle, grab that spreader bar, hook up one end to the trailer, drop the leg, and then drag the axle, hook up the axle. I don't know. I see like the spreader by itself will take like 1 hour, and then the Jeep, the neck, will take probably another hour, 2 hours, and a couple of hours to load. And so I told the guy I'll be there at like 7 o'clock, and I told pilots, I said, meet me at this address west of Detroit at 12 o'clock, because at 3 we have a curfew starting in some counties around that area, so we have to get out of there by 3 o'clock. So Well, and once again I'm with Teresa. Now she's in the front because now I'm 105 feet long. I need 2 Escorts. And so she found a guy to complement her, so to speak. We just had a hard time getting out of the dealer.
We got a red light up here.
Yeah, 10-4. Yeah, the dealer was like a very big hill. I had to go all the way to like maximum height, and I'm still only a few inches off the ground. So this is a pretty heavy machine. But I was talking to one guy. He says this Volvo. He says the secret is in the last letter. He says there's E means lighter and D is heavier. And that dealer is super busy, and you see all day these guys are coming in, and most of them just run just like what we do in Ontario, 4 axle trailers. But I cannot do that because I'm going to Western Canada. I'm probably gonna be stuck here for the red light. No, we're coming through. Teresa, I'll be turning from this middle lane.
Just take all you need. Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
Clear to turn.
Yeah, let me just stop here for a sec, just drop the right height.
Everybody should have enough room to come around.
What's funny, it shows hardly any weight on the truck. Less than 50 psi, that's not good. I think I have a lot of weight on the Jeep.
We got a whole lot of cars coming.
got my Indiana permit. So Teresa, 50 should be okay, right? 50 mph?
Yeah, and we have 5.5 miles to 23 south.
10-4. Yeah, we're doing a little bit of zigzagging over here. So this is 96, and we're going northwest, or pretty much west. On 96, and then we have to catch 23 south, and then basically for some reason they don't want us on this 96 to Lansing. We have to go around.
Can you hear me back there okay, Sean?
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
Right.
Check the booster. The booster seems to be working fine. And you guys saw I posted this at the last video, like my empty weight went up by over 1,000 pounds, whereas before it was 72,300. Yeah, it was 72.4. Now it's 73.5. Wow. So that's the extra metal they added to the Jeep, and I'm pretty sure that the spreader bar became heavier too, because the plates are much thicker now. Yeah, this is a big excavator. Actually, I'm thinking, how am I gonna drive like this with no escorts, you know, through Chicago? You know, that can be a bit intimidating. So yeah, loading took from 7:30 until 3 p.m. And then 3 p.m. we figured out with Teresa that we better stay there until 4:30, because there's basically there's curfews. You miss one, you hit another one. And so this way, by the time we reach Lansing, I think it's Ingham County, so it's gonna be 6. So yeah, we should be okay, because I didn't want to keep them for the second day, and she gave me a ride to a restaurant. The guy disappeared. He had to take care of some business, and we found Applebee's restaurant, and so Teresa gave me a ride in her fancy Chevrolet, and we had some nice food. I had a full rack of ribs, and of course I paid for her lunch, because, you know, because of me they were sitting there for 3 hours, because I told them to meet me at 12 o'clock and I finished only at 3, like everything, you know, flags,
So we're at the 2 mile mark for 23.
Roger that. There you see, that's 23. So we're gonna take this south. And it's plus 30 Celsius, which is not good for a heavy load like this. Why I don't have any weight on the truck? That's what I want to know. it's maybe it's because I have the lift axle down, right? Because in Michigan you have to have all your axles down, and so the lift axle takes a lot. And of course that thing, you know, 50 just shows your pressure on the fifth wheel on the truck. So actually it's okay, because once I enter Canada in Saskatchewan, I will have to
1 mile for 23 south.
I will have to raise the lift axle, because those guys over there don't allow the use of the lift axle. And so if I lift it, I don't think I'll be overweight. You know, that's kind of like a tricky balance I was trying to achieve when loading. So for now, I can run on 10 axles, but once I enter Canada, I have to be legal on 9.
And we're taking the left lane exit for 23 south.
Yeah, therefore, lead the way. The speed on my permit is limited. I cannot even drive the speed limit. Alright, so we're taking this 23. So basically, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right?
We're going to switch over to the right lane.
You're all clear to come over. 54.
Exit 148A for 23 south.
Yeah, that looks like a pretty sharp turn, right?
Yep, exit 25 mile an hour.
No, but it's very long. It just basically, they wanted to be careful. We'll just go slow. We'll go 5 low. I'm big, heavy, and important. Others will wait. Now I have to get used again to being 105 feet long with a Stinger. It's it's definitely an experience, you know, with all these, you know, sometimes I look at my truck when I'm sitting at a truck stop, and let's say I went and I got coffee or something, right, and then I'm just walking back to my truck, and like this morning, right, I went to buy that bulb, and I'm walking back to my truck, and my truck has the Jeep, this humongous Jeep on the deck, the spreader, all these axles in the back, and you know, 2-year-old truck, and I'm looking at them like, wait a second, is this my rig, you know? Sometimes I cannot believe it, like how?
The ramp is currently clear.
Roger that. So how do I get to here, you know? Well, just like you eat the elephant, you know, one step at a time, right? Wow, we missed the bridge. So I started with the dry van, then got trained on flatbed, then bought my own step deck, right? Then bought a 3-axle, no, regular 53 flat, and then got 3-axle step deck, and that was my last trailer before before the Kaufman, before I started doing
4.5 miles to 36.
Roger. You are a good communicator, Teresa.
Thank you.
Uh-oh, 14.7. Let's see, are we gonna hit this one? No. What? See, I gotta work on my aim. I'm terrible. I miss mailboxes, I miss bridges. Oh boy, my boss will not be happy, so we'll have to do some training after dark in the parking lot. But seriously, driving like this with this super long road train, well, I'm not afraid of regular Canada, Saskatchewan, Alberta. It's all open spaces. There's not that much traffic. You can find big truck stops, but BC, that's one, those mountains over there. It's gonna be interesting. Flashing lights on the roof, but those are not actually required by my permit. But what's required is flashing lights in the bumper on the trailer. And Alan from Keswick would be happy.
54 for 36 west.
10-4. And Alan from Keswick will be happy to know that I'm using his fancy flags with magnets. I mean, it's so fast, just you grab that flag because it's already attached to the magnet. You just drop it on the track and you keep walking. You don't even have to stop, right? I walked around the excavator. In 1 minute I had 4 flags attached. It saves so much time. These magnets, and they're super strong. And so I used 2 flags on the bumper on the truck, 2 flags in the bumper of the trailer, and
Here's the 1 mile sign for 36.
yeah, I see it. And 2 flags on the front of the excavator and 2 flags on the rear of the excavator. So I'm like a Christmas tree, and that's see what's helpful is on the night before, when I was talking to Teresa about today, I emailed her a copy of my Michigan permit with the route, and so she was able to program. See, I'm not even running any routes because I'm relying on her. She was able to program waypoints, you know, all our turns. She programmed them in her smartphone.
And I'm coming up on the exit for 54 for 36 west.
Yep, 10-4.
Rise exit 25 miles an hour. Upside at the end. And we're going left at the stop sign.
Are flying over there.
Got one more coming this way.
Yeah, then for west, right?
Yep. And it isn't always up.
The lady stopped to let us. Oh boy, all these turns, you know? Oh, actually, wait a second. Everybody has a.
People just don't want to stop.
Yeah, I cannot make that corner. Sorry, boss. The guy in the pickup truck was too close. I couldn't make the corner.
Yeah. We're sitting halfway in that lane, they didn't want to stop.
Yeah, I don't want to start knocking posts on, you know, on day one. I have 2,700 miles to go. not looking forward to, you know, those mountains there, Rocky Mountains between Alberta and British Columbia. The good news is that I thought I would have to hire them for the second day, and then I looked closely at my e-log and everything is good. So now we're only limited by the daylight. And since now I just got my, you know, we were sitting at the restaurant having lunch, and my phone beeped, and Carrie Ann from Transport Permits writes, "Here you go." And I see there's an Indiana permit attached. So that's like half of the battle of getting out of this, you know, crampy area, because at least in Indiana,
one coming back.
yeah, in Indiana I'm gonna find a big truck stop and try to scale. Again, we have
We got a small flatbed coming back.
What do you guys think? I think again they used the method of darts for picking up the route. Yeah, 10-4. slow going. I don't know, it's 6:15 and we still even haven't reached 127.
1 mile for a left turn.
Yeah, therefore. So we're still on this 36 and it keeps going left and right. Like here is pretty decent because it runs together with 52. And you have nice broad shoulders. You see the sign on the right says North 52, West 36. And so in about half a mile we're gonna leave this nice highway and we're gonna go on 30 back on 36. So yeah, I don't know. So we have 2.5 hours, maybe, well, actually maybe 3 hours left to sunset. But once we hit 127, it should be much faster. Like this one, lots of,
1 mile.
yeah, lots of very slow turns. Yeah, you see 36. And if we stay on this road, I-96 is about 5 minutes away. You know? And of course I-96 will be so much faster, but we cannot go. On the shoulder up ahead.
Yeah.
And you see right away you see,
how close he is.
right away you see shoulders get smaller because on the Google Maps this road is just white line, whereas this one was
Pretty close to the shoulder, and I got 1 4-wheeler coming back.
therefore it looks like roadside repair, right?
Tow truck with a van truck and 2 4-wheelers. The rest of it is clear so far.
Where's 127? I want 127. Because 127, I think it's a divided highway. So yeah, this is basically the entire day, right? First it was assembly of components. Took the most time, and then loading, chaining, attaching flags, checking height, talking to escorts, lunch, planning the trip, how to avoid curfews, right? Very important, planning. And then a little bit of driving. And as one guy once told me, the goal for day one usually is to get out of the state. So, you know, you get loaded and sometimes you're thinking, okay, how far shall I go? I'm tired, you know, I just spent, like me, you know, I just spent so much time working very physically, right? With all these chains, it was hot. I was dirty as, you know, as a mine worker. Like, how far do I want to go? But I have to get out of the state because these guys are costing me a lot of money.
So far it's clear.
If I keep them for the second day, that's another $1,000. Right? So yeah, that's the usually you're doing good if after loading you got out of the state where you were loading, right? So let's say I loaded in Michigan, so the goal for day one is to get loaded and get to Indiana, for example, right? So if we're doing that, we're good.
This curve is all clear.
All right, now it's coming back to me, you know, this driving thing with the Jeep and booster. It's coming back. Yeah, actually the booster, I'm telling you, like when I don't have the booster, I'm happy, but then I get the booster, man, it just, you know, goes around corners. It's so nice. Much easier than if I had a four in a row. Oh, and by the way, I got a confirmation from Henry's. Imagine, send my pre-order for this fancy overpriced camera July 8th. July 8th. Now it's August 25th. And it's still not here because so many people are crazy about these Canon R6 and R5. Forget it. You know, like I said, I'm going back to Nikon. My favorite camera of all time was Nikon D810. It was a pretty expensive camera, you know, like big, but I like big cameras. I got big hands. It was 36 megapixels. I'm not sure why I sold it. I think, you know, I just I wasn't shooting too much, and you know, because I'm in the truck, I'm afraid to leave these expensive cameras in the truck, so I'm always carrying them with me. And so I had one camera, two lenses. They're like 6 pounds, you know, you always carry in your backpack, and I decided to get to a Canon and get a small Canon. And I got a small Canon for YouTube, right? But then, you know, time passes, you still want to shoot pictures, and you wanna have quality. And Canon, those tiny cameras I had, they're only good for video. Like pictures were no comparison to Nikon D810. And I tried other Canons. I tried the USR, 6D Mark II, T7i, SL3, and now I pre-ordered R6. But that camera is $2,500 US, no lens. And their lenses, that's actually the major reason why I decided to get back to Nikon, because these RF lenses for mirrorless cameras, they're super expensive. Like, so the camera is $2,500 US. The lens, if you want to get a decent lens, 24-70 or 70-200, is $2,000 for 24-70 and $2,600 US for 70-200. You know, whereas with the Nikon, the lenses are much cheaper because they are old school, like regular AF lenses, you know, for regular DSLR. And I really like this D850, which is the successor of D810. It's like a big camera, you know, it has 45 megapixels, I think. So it's definitely better than D810. A bit pricey, but actually cheaper than R6 that I pre-ordered. And all lenses are 2 times cheaper, so it's like a no-brainer. Captain Sergey is going back to Nikon. Sorry, Canon. We're probably gonna finish this blockbuster over here, so I'm passing the town of Dansville. Like, I know Dansville very well in New York, where there's a TA, right, on I-390. But this is Michigan, and the same name. And so hopefully we're gonna get closer to the Indiana line before it gets dark, but basically that's the plan. Drive it like you stole it at 45 miles per hour, and we have to shut down at 9 o'clock because the sunset is at 8:30 and we have 30 minutes after that, so that leaves us 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I don't think we'll reach Indiana. We'll see. So thanks for watching. I'll do an update when I'm going through other states. So basically I'm going through Chicago, Fargo, and then Saskatchewan, Edmonton, BC. It's gonna be a long and interesting trip. Stay with me. See you later.